Hey, it's Larry. Welcome to Stewarding the Wealth Transfer. I hope you're having a good day. Today we're talking about lies, and we're going to talk about a lot of lies. You go, well, what are you talking about, Larry? What things are people believing that they shouldn't believe? Well, do you think the dollar's going to be just fine? Oh, yeah. I mean, the dollar's always been there, right? I mean, it'll be fine. Do you think that? Seriously? What about, do you feel this way towards money? Do you feel that savings is the safest way to use your money? And if it's the safest way, that's the way you should go, right? Because you should always be safe, right? I mean, isn't safe the right way? Yeah, I think so. These four different groups, they all have different attitudes towards money, and they have different views and philosophies of money. And so sometimes their philosophy really serves them well in their status, but it won't serve them well moving past their status. So there's poor people and their attitudes towards money. There's middle class and their attitudes towards money. There's rich people and their attitudes towards money. And then there's wealthy people. And the way I'm defining it, wealthy people are not necessarily the rich people. And why do I use it this way? In this definition, I'm saying that poor people work for money, middle class people work for money, rich people. Now, this is not every rich person, because some people are rich and wealthy. And some people aren't rich, but they are wealthy. And so wealthy is not, there's people who make over 100,000 a year and they're very poor. And then there's other people who live extremely well on well under 100,000 because they don't have to work, because their money works for them. So in my definition, wealthy people have their money work for them, but the poor, the middle class, and the rich, and rich, I'm talking like movie stars or people, even CEOs. There's some CEOs who are rich and wealthy, but if they're still working for money, they're rich, they're not wealthy. These four different groups, they all have different attitudes towards money, and they have different views and philosophies of money. And so sometimes their philosophy really serves them well in their status, but it won't serve them well moving past their status. But my parents were actually raised in poor homes, and my mom talks about how payday was a big deal in their home. And usually, they had the once a month trip to the ice cream store when they got paid, even though they didn't hardly have any money. That's what they did. Do I think that's dumb? No, I don't think that's dumb. I actually think that's probably a skillful way. If you're going to have more month than money, then why not have one fun day a month with the kids? And, in reason. And, but the thing is, would I do that now that I know what I know? No, I wouldn't do that, because even when we were poor after bankruptcy, I had a wealthy mentality, and I thought differently. I wasn't believing the lies about money of the poor. Was I poor? Yes, I was poor. I wasn't even middle class. I was poor. And yet I had a wealthy mindset. And so I was going to live like a wealthy person, because if you want to become wealthy, you need to live like a wealthy person. And wealthy is not how much money you have, it's how you live. And then your money begins to manifest. And I'm going to tell you, a poor person is a mindset. And if you give a poor person a bunch of money, they're eventually going to be poor. It just depends how much money you give them and how fast they go through it. We had a guy at our storage facility that he told us, I just inherited $3 million and I want to rent a couple storage units because I'm buying some cars. And it was hard to believe, but with the cars he had and the friends he had, it was true. He went through $3 million, he said, in 3 years. And so it was very sad. And then we ended up having to kick him out. And he was on drugs and everything, and all his friends were losers. They beat the crud out of our units. made all kinds of bad choices. He had a poor person's mentality. Am I saying every poor person is drugs? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that don't let your current mindset hold you back, because I believe as you come into the wealth transfer, you need to have a kingdom mindset about wealth. And I believe it's God's will, or I think it's wisdom at least, for your money to work for you if you don't have to work for your money. And so I still think it's important to work and be productive, but you don't have to work for money. I really love working for free. I like to work for nothing. I like to be good for nothing, and that's what I hope that you are. I hope that you become good for nothing. I want you to be good for nothing. So middle class people, what do they believe wrong about money, Larry? Well, middle class people think that it's fine to make payments on everything, because they don't know how to do it any other way. They know they can, quote, afford this truck or this car, and they just get used to making payments. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad if that's where you're at, because that's where you're at. And you have to learn how to live skillfully where you're at. But when you come into lots of money, don't become, the difference between a middle-class person and a rich person is how many zeros are in their check, because they live the same way. That's in the definition I've got here. A rich person probably has to make $200,000 or more a year from their job or their business. And sometimes they're business owners. Just because they're business owners doesn't mean they're wealthy. Many, many rich business owners, they have lots of toys. They're a couple months from bankruptcy. They may have a lot more money than the average Joe, but their expenses are way bigger than the average Joe. And they have lies about money because they don't know how to make their money work for them. And I want you to make your money work for you. I don't want you to work for your money as this time comes. And so what kind of lies do people believe that are poor or middle class or even rich people? What lies do they believe? Am I saying that every wealthy person is, so wise and whatever? And no, I'm not saying that. And I'm actually going to jump over before I go into these 4 lies that people believe about money. Sometimes it's hard because people become so impassioned, or they can't look at themselves a different way. And you might be going, Larry, you don't really know, because it looks like you might have a lot of money, but you don't really know what it's like to have to work through, Larry. Well, let me tell. There's a lot of parallels between health and wealth, and you go, well, what do you mean by that? Well, if you are not satisfied with the way that you are, then you have to think differently if you're going to lead a different life. And so most of my subscribers are really nice, and I appreciate them. But I don't know if you ever saw the guy that made the comment, but one guy, he kind of gave me a big compliment, and he gave me a big slap in the face at the same time, except I have to thank that guy. I'm going to say I think he's a total jackass for saying this, but the truth actually hit me well, because he said, this guy is a fat Mark Cuban. And I thought, man, that's really nice. He said, I'm like Mark Cuban. I mean, that guy's ungodly, but he's a billionaire. He's wise, generally. But he goes, I'm fatter than Mark Cuban. And I know I am more fat than Mark Cuban, but I don't think of Mark Cuban as skinny. And, I don't really like to think of myself as fat, but I am fat because I'm obese. I'm more than 50 pounds overweight. So you go, well, Larry, now it's nice to know. We've noticed that. Why didn't you go on a diet? Well, believe it or not, I have gone on a diet. And that's a little bit like me saying, why don't you become wealthy? You've probably tried to be wealthy, but you don't know how to be wealthy because you don't know how to live wealthy, but you're going to get your chance. And so I'm going to find my chance. I think I found my chance to get back to my ideal weight. But I began to live in this lie that there's nothing I can do, because I'm 60 years old, 61, and I keep, getting that pound or 2 a year for the past decade. And I just, I was overweight a decade ago, but I wasn't this big. And so, I used to be in my 220s, and in my 40s, I got to my 230s, and then I got to the 240s, and then I ended up in the 250s. But you don't know how to change, and there's so much stuff in society, you get stuck. But how do you get out of it? The reason I'm telling you this is I'm going to tell you about this diet I'm choosing to do. You don't maybe can't tell, but this is the smallest you've seen me, because I've been doing this diet for a week, and I'm down just over 5 pounds. And you might go, well, that's quite a bit in a week, but how come you think this is going to be different? Because I've tried dieting about 4 different times, had no success. The thing is, you're going to think I'm crazy. The thing is, sometimes you got to be willing to let other people think you're crazy. And, I don't care if you don't like my diet, but I want to tell you the benefits of this diet. And it's called a carnivore. And I'm really more, if you want to be technical, of a ketovore. And what's that mean? It means I eat almost all meat. So here's the crazy thing. The guy who talked me into it, he wasn't trying to talk me into it, but it's Gordon Peterson. I started watching a YouTuber. You got to be careful when you start watching a YouTuber, because they can really mess your life up or make it better, maybe. And so Gordon Peterson is, this intellectual Canadian professor who recently came to Christ. He said, I did not believe that you could live just off meat. But he goes, I've been doing it for more than a year. He goes, I've actually been doing it for 7 years, and I love it. And the benefits are so amazing. And people always, he goes, he's obviously extremely intellectual, and he goes, I'm just so sick and tired of people saying, well, what about what the USDA? He goes, that's the government. You don't think the government lies? He goes, you think the food pyramid is actually based in science? He goes, there's no true science in the government is totally in the wrong on the whole diet thing. And if the government is wrong on our money, if the government is wrong medically, if the government is wrong judicially, if the government is wrong educationally, look what they're doing to our kids. I mean, look what they've done. The government, it's like the whole system is going wrong, yet you want to believe what the government says about food. So I'm happy, I'm not like some trailblazer. I'm just following a bunch of other people, but I'm telling you, I'm really excited. And I don't eat like a pauper. And I'm learning how to do this because I'm not even hungry 3 times a day now. But I thought, well, I got to eat 3 times a day. But now I'm realizing, no, I'm just eating twice a day. And I get to eat really good. And I feel so much better. And so I don't know if I'll do this the rest of my life, but I didn't know that I could eat and not be hungry. And so I've changed the way that I think about food. And I found something that works for me. And the thing is, I don't want to be in the future the way that I am now in my relationship with food. The effect that food has, the results I've got from my view of food, because how I think affects how I act, and I don't like the results I've got. The way you think reflects the way you act. How do you like your financial outcome? How do you like it? Do you think, maybe you're too skinny financially and you'd like to be a little bit more plump, And the way you think has to change so that you can change the way that you act, and then you're going to get different results. And especially during this time of this wealth transfer, there's going to be resources that are coming soon. But people, you go, well, what are you talking about, Larry? What things are people believing that they shouldn't believe? Well, do you think the dollar's going to be just fine? Oh, yeah, I mean, the dollar's always been there, right? I mean, it'll be fine. Do you think that? Seriously? What about, do you feel this way towards money? Do you feel that savings is the safest way to use your money? And if it's the safest way, that's the way you should go, right? Because you should always be safe, right? I mean, isn't safe the right way? Yeah, I think so. Well, you might think, I don't have to change the way that I think about money. I know how to use money. I'll be fine. You know, well, have you done well so far? No, I haven't done well, but that's that. My previous 40 or 50 years has there's no correlation between the way I've lived in the past when I didn't have millions of dollars and the way I'm going to live in the future when I have millions of dollars. Really? Is that how it's going to go? Really? I mean, I've noticed, because I've made millions of dollars a couple times, that I have to think differently to hold on to it. I mean, I never thought I would be rich. And okay, I'm using rich and wealth similarly here, but I never thought I'd be rich. I never thought I'd be a multimillionaire. And then I thought if I ever was one, I never thought I'd lose it. And then once I lost it, I never thought I could get it back. Yet I've done all those things. And the difference is the way I think about money. I will never be poor for long again, because if I'm poor, I know how to work out of it. And I want to help you with that. But the thing is, just avoiding being poor isn't the goal. What can you do when you have, all these resources? And that's, where we're going to get. But I want you to change the way that you view money. But you might be going, okay, what's another lie? Timing isn't important in investing. You might think, well, timing isn't important in investing, Larry. I mean, my stockbroker tells me that. Well, let me tell you, what I think about all these 4 lies of money. I think every one of these is lies. Will the dollar be fine? No, the dollar's not going to be fine. That's a lie. Is savings the safest way to use your money? It's the stupidest way to use your money right now. I don't know if you want to hear that, but that's the truth, in my opinion. And so that's how I think about it. And I don't know if you have to change the way that you think. Do you have to change your relationship? If you're really happy with the results, then you don't have to change your relationship with money. If you're not happy with your results, then I think you should change your relationship. I'm not going to change my relationship with money, because I'm very happy with my results with money, but I'm having to deal with the reality I have to change my relationship with food, because it's not serving me well. The way I think about food and the way that I use food is not serving me well. And so it's my goal that I will, get under 200 pounds. And I think it'll happen this summer. This is the first time I've been on a diet that I don't hate. I actually look forward to it. I'm so excited about it. I had to think about it for 2 weeks before I could decide how I could do it. I had to decide to change my life. Your money is going to change your life either for a short time or for all time. And you need to think about these things. Why, Larry, do you think the dollar won't be fine? Well, I'll tell you why the dollar's not going to be fine. Because we're in a fiat money system, and every fiat money system... Well, I got a dog timeout here. You going to come up here, Sofers? I'm going to provide links at the bottom, but fiat currencies around the world are on fire. Japan is the most on fire. Japan's about ready to go up in flames, and it's horrendous. And so that's... I think Japan's going to be the first one down, and I think that the euro is going to probably be next, because they're far worse shape than the United States. And but I think we're going down. I think our leaders are pushing us down. So will the dollar be fine? No, I don't think it will be. I think that I think our banks are way overextended. I think that our financial system is compromised. I think that people are stealing money in the silver markets. If you've been an investor in silver, you know this. Do you know that on my silver investments that they've gone up by a full 33% since January 1st? The reason is there's the price in China for silver is $4 to $5 an ounce more than it is in America. And so the Chinese and India are buying silver off the COMEX in America, and they're shipping it over to China and India, and they're paying, $4 or $5 more for it, and some people are making a whole bunch of money, and it's crazy what's going on. I had a conversation with a good friend yesterday in this topic of saving is the safest way to use money. And I said to him, he's a good, godly guy, and I said, hey, let me kind of confront you as a friend about your view of using money and my view of using money. And I'm going to use a Christian illustration here. And you may not like this, but whatever. I mean, see if it's true. I said, in my opinion, there definitely is a time to save. But I said, not when fiat currency is on fire. This is not the time to save. To be happy at making 4 or 5% right now is literally, you just don't know what's going on. But I said this offensive thing. I said, in my observation, savings is motivated by fear, and people are scared to be investors, and so they resort to just saving. And they feel good about that, but they're not thinking, but that's what they're feeling. They feel good about it. And I said, investors educate themselves, and I always feel good about my biggest investments. I do have some investments that I think are a little crazy. I make crazy investments, but I don't go all in on those things, I go all in on things, and it's just like a no-brainer. Silver is a no-brainer. Even still, up to $50 for me is the no-brainer. I'd move on to other things after it gets past 50, but even up to 50, I think it's a no-brainer. And so I don't think savings is the safest way to use money. I think it's a smart time to be an investor and get out of the fiat system. I don't know. Do you have to change your relationship with money? I don't know. What about this last one? Timing isn't important in investing. I think that's the stupidest thing. Now, here's the deal, and I'm going to kind of conclude with this. This is another lie about money, and this is my own observation. And this is, the thing is, you might be so busy working that you have to pay somebody to watch your money. And I don't know how many really wealthy people you know. I don't know if I know more than you. I know now where I'm at in life, a lot of my friends and peers are really wealthy. Their money works for them. And let me tell you, they watch their money. They control their money. They don't have people that they pay to watch their money. You know why? Because they made their money watching their money. And so as you go from being poor, middle class, or rich, but you're not wealthy, and you become wealthy, I'm telling you, you need to watch your money. You might be going, well, Larry, do you have a stockbroker? I don't right now. I just do it online. The ridiculously wealthy people, they watch their own money. So I hope that you don't believe these lies. I hope that you found this good. I hope it's beneficial. I hope that you will intellectually consider, do I need to change my relationship with food? Do I need to change my relationship with money? And do I need to not believe certain things, or are there some things I should begin to believe and change my mind? Have a great day.